So I got another rumor that is linking the possibility of cartridges to the Nintendo NX, which I wholeheartedly believe. There are a few things I want to talk about with this before I get into the story. A few things to support cartridges is the fact that CD-ROM technology isn't exactly portable. Don't get me wrong, don't misinterpret. Yes, I understand you can take a CD with you. How many CDs can you take with you? Would you carry them in a jeweled case? Because those cases crack and shatter. So would you take it in a DVD box type situation, a Blu-ray box? So that adds to expense, that adds to the heft. After 2 or 3 of those, you're running out of room in your backpack if you're going to be taking it with you, okay? So the second thing is, not only that, but CD-ROM drives are still fairly large components to be tacking on to an otherwise very small device. So for example, imagine a smaller version of a iPad, and now slap on a giant CD drive on the back of it. Not only does that introduce moving components that often can and probably will fail, the examples being the PSP's UMD drive, but also it introduces heft and weight. And even if it's just a little bit, it's still enough to make it heavier. So even if it was just 1 pound, that's 1 pound heavier that the device has to be. That also introduces a powering system and a bottleneck for CDs to read to the CPU, GPU, and then transfer that information to the screen, because it's based upon the CD speed that you insert. So cartridges are much faster. There's no questioning that. It's like instant. There's no moving components. There's no pieces that could possibly be destroyed. There is just the leads from the cartridge to the GPU, CPU, wires. You get what I'm saying, right? So that's a lot better for a lot of people. And I think that this is what Nintendo's going to do. And apparently Wall Street wants to back that up also, because they are saying that cartridges will more than likely be the choice. They cite core fans, including small children, who might scratch discs, but cartridges are tougher. Fun story, fun fact, when I was younger, I accidentally left Pokemon the trading card game in my clothing pocket, washed my pants and dried them, and the game itself was chewed up, had a giant slash down the center of it. Still worked. I also left Pokemon Red out in the snow when I was outside playing in the snow as a kid, and again, I left it in the snow for about an hour before I realized where it was left at, and came back, found it, dried it off. Still worked. So CDs probably would have done the same thing, maybe not so much with the dryer, but outside. But at the end of the day, cartridges are hardy. Now, the final piece of this story that I'm going to be discussing is that Wall Street Journal's source corroborates another report where a Chinese manufacturer, Macronex, was expecting ROM sales to spike later this year when production of NX games is expected to ramp up in anticipation of the console's projected March 2017 launch. Now, this is important to know also because the production of special 32GB ROM chips, especially flash media, is what's going to be used here. So a lot of people are curious about whether or not Microsoft's Xbox One, PlayStation 4, or the next generation system, Scorpio, or this or that, would even be compatible on these chips, because right now we're sitting at the potential for games to be 50 gigabytes on disk. Okay, so that's what we have. I'm pretty sure it's a dual layer Blu-ray DVD that these companies are using as their media devices, and also you can download games, but usually if they're going to be able to be downloaded, they're going to be on discs also. Grand Theft Auto is one of the biggest ones, but there are other games also that are about 50 gigabytes. And if those previous generation, current generation games are 50 gigabytes, and these ones are going to be 32 gigabyte ROM chips, that means that that's less room and probably not going to be super compatible. But there are games like The Witcher 3 that are 29 gigabytes, Fallout 4 which are 26 gigabytes, Dark Souls which are 12 gigabytes, and Rise of Tomb Raider which are 20 gigabytes. Now you think about this for a minute. Cool, right, we got this, okay? So there are still games that'll work. Just use the base game and download the DLC data into the flash storage. You know, a lot of flash storages are 128 gigabytes or 256 these days. So we're good to go with the DLC and extra stuff. We'll just use the cartridges for the main game. Makes sense, right? 3DS games, to give you kind of an idea here, are only 8 gigabyte ROM chips. So you see that there's a lot to go and a lot of ways to go. And if they use similar structures of 3DS chips chips for the Wii U, like and the NX, and they just put them all together. Like they start burning Wii U games onto the chips and making them backwards compatible also, and just have these three working together, kind of like Triforce. Then you'll have yourself a really good system, because you'll be able to play your 3DS and Wii U past generation games onto your NX and still be able to use the same chip system for all three, assuming Nintendo would burn Wii U games onto it. They could also just put the Wii U games on the download marketplace, which most of them already are, so it really wouldn't even need to do that, really, technically. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed this story. There's very few drawbacks to cartridges other than the high production cost. They cost quite a bit to market and produce compared to the discs, their counterparts, but I mean, nowadays, with the way things have changed and come, they're a lot cheaper than they used to be. So, are you guys excited for the Nintendo NX? Do you think the cartridges would be a good thing or a bad thing? Let me know your comments, questions, and concerns in this section below. And I've been your host, Protomario, and I'm signing out. As always, good gaming and God bless.